Okay, our art club painting today is based off of this painting, The Great Wave. So we're going to recreate this in our own version on our paper. So it's going to look a little bit like this, but then it's going to have its own style as well. So I am going to start at the bottom of my page and make my first wave here. It carries across the page. We're going to have a couple smaller waves like this on this side. I'm using a black crayon so it will help with my blocking my paint when we get to the painting step. Now this wave is our big wave. This is the great wave. We're just going to start with a curve like this, and then we're going to make, when I showed you that picture, I had that white part, right? So it's kind of like a squiggly line. This is the water coming off the wave. That part's going to stay white in our picture, so we need to block it out. And I'm going to do a backwards C coming down like this from that wave. This wave's also going to have some white areas. I'm going to make a little bit there. We'll have some white on this one as well. Like that. Okay, next we're going to make some lines coming down from the white part of our wave. Just like this. And we're going to do the same thing to this wave. Going to the edge of the paper. This is going to help it look like water, this wave as well. Okay, so we have our picture so far with some waves in it. Now we got to make a background for it. Now in his picture, there's a little volcano over here. You do not have to add a volcano to yours. We're actually going to make a different little styled background. So I'm going to make a sun in my sky up here. Like I said before, if you want, you could put a little volcano here. You could just add a little line for like the water that's in the distance that we can't see. You could put a little island. You could put a boat back here if you wanted to. But a boat in this water would be rough. If I want to make a boat, I'm just going to color in a little smile shape here. Add a little square on the back of this part. Extend this part a little bit. Make some lines for sails, and then we just add our sails. To the picture. So now I have a little boat in the background. Okay, from our sun, we are also going to make lines. So we're going to kind of do a couple things to this picture that are different than the artist. Like this. Now we have our drawing done. Now we have to do the painting part, which we're going to do with watercolor paint. If you want anything to stay white, that's little, like if you drew clouds in your sky, you should color those white with a white crayon right now. But this part of the wave, we don't really have to worry about because we're going to just not paint in that spot. I am going to do one more thing and add a little bit of a shadow underneath that white part. So all I'm doing is just coloring down a couple lines right under that white part. So it looks like it's really turning over into the water. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing down here. And I can even do a little bit on this one too. Just like that, and that's it. Okay, so now for our painting steps. So I'm going to get my brush, and you've seen this, that I used this brush before, that it already has water in it, but you are going to need water for this project so that way your paint will be able to work when we're using watercolor paint, or even if you're using temper cakes too, same thing. Okay, make sure I got my color off there. We're going to use blues and greens in our water. So I'm going to start with my blue here. I'm going to just do one part of this wave blue. Okay, I'm going to skip and go to the next one, do this one blue. Skip and go here. And I'm going to keep doing that until I've finished all of my water pattern. So I'm going to do it through all of this water. Okay, now in the lid over here, I'm going to make a turquoise color. So turquoise is blue plus green mixed together. I'm going to make it in the lid of my paint, so that way I can do that in the spaces between the blues. So once I have that color that I decided to make, now I'm going to use my turquoise color between the blues, and I'm going to fill all those spaces. I did not paint this part of water yet because we will do that after. Okay, so now that we've done those parts of the water, we still need to paint this water right here. I'm just going to use my regular blue again to paint here. Remember, I'm not painting in those white areas because we want to keep those white right now. We're going to add a little bit of shadows in them, but not yet. Okay, so we're going to let that part dry. Now we're going to paint our sky. So obviously we're going to want to make our sun yellow. So we're going to start with that. Got my nice yellow sun. Now I'm going to rotate in these parts with orange, red, and yellow. So I'll pick one first to be yellow. And we're going to do red, orange, yellow, red, orange. Here's another yellow. Red, orange. This last one will be yellow as well. Just like that. Wash off my brush. Use orange. My orange is just going to go in the spot right next to my yellows. And if I paint on top of my boat, it's okay because we did it in crayon, so the paint will go away. So I'm taking my red, filling in the last pieces of my sky. Ooh, I think I forgot to do a color here. I'm going to figure out what that looks like. It might be yellow. Gets a little tricky when it goes past your wave, but I think it's going to be yellow there.
What?
Okay, so now I'm going to go like this. I'm going to take a little bit of blue to do a little bit of shadow on my wave. So I'm going to put a little bit of the blue edge on this part of this wave. And then I'm blending it with just water into the white. So now it has like a little bit of a shadow on my wave. Just like that. I'm going to do the same thing on the other wave. So I'm going to take my blue, add a little bit on the edge, and then blend it with my brush so that it goes to white. And same thing down here. We're going to do one more thing. If you have liquid white paint, which is the extra thing that you could have to do the very last fun step here. So I'm not going to use this brush for this because it is a watercolor brush, but I am going to grab a new brush. I'm going to get some white paint with my new brush, and all I'm going to do is kind of like press on the page right around my big wave here. I'm like sponging the paint up and down. Because if you think about when water sprays, how it does that kind of look. Just like that. Ta-da! Now our picture is complete. So if you did not get to join us for our club today, I hope you get to do this project on your own at home, and I hope you have a lot of fun doing it. If you do actually do the project and you'd like to show me, then send me a photo through email. Bye, boys and girls.